Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to jump to the end of the slides, actually. There we go. So just to introduce the company first. My name's Adi Ben-Ari. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Applied Blockchain. We've been in the space for a long time. So I started the company in 2015, and we've been building solutions for a whole range of clients, and you can see some of them on here. Our biggest client is Shell, where we built an enterprise trading platform, which is the largest trading platform used inside the company across the globe today. So we've had a lot of experience and really built with this technology, seen what works and what doesn't. And I wanted to share with you some of our conclusions today. So I'll go all the way back to the beginning. Okay, so I guess the outcome of our 7 years of work and building all of these solutions is a platform that we've developed called Silent Data. And as the name implies, this is about keeping the data private where it needs to be, and applying that in particular for enterprises and businesses. So I have an enterprise background, and so this is really where I'm coming from when looking at the technology. What choices does a large company have, or really any business, if they want to use blockchain and they want to start getting the benefit or the efficiencies that you can get from transacting through a blockchain? And we build with this technology because we think it's more technically efficient, right? We think that if you can send funds and receive an asset in a single transaction on a single platform, you're really going to be able to transform the way businesses transact, the way businesses trade, the way we trade assets, the way we make payments, and so on. So we have technical efficiency. But as a business, how can you approach this? How can you even start to use it? So the basic choices we have today, the first one is you can use a public blockchain. The public blockchain is really where it's at, right? This is where the innovation happens. This is where lots of companies are building and deploying. This is where standards emerge, right? We have token standards. This is where interoperability happens. We have one DeFi protocol talking to another wallet, talking to another protocol, and so on. So this is really where the magic happens. But if you're a business, a big business, a regulated business, and you don't want everybody to see your activity, then there's a challenge, right? So the public blockchain is transparent. The other thing to say about the public blockchain is it is decentralized, right? So the primary thing that you get from a blockchain is the extra security by having a group, preferably a large group, that's securing these historical transactions. The second choice we have is what we call a private blockchain, right? This is where most companies go. And the reason is because they don't want their data to be public, and also because they want to be in control of the environment. There's some level of control that a large organization needs to have, their IT department needs to feel that it has in the environment that they're working with. So the fantastic thing about private blockchains is that they're private, right? Nobody sees your data unless you want to share it with them. The problem is that the way private blockchains are built and designed, every participant, in order to enter their data and share their data with whoever they want to, needs to have a node, right? And in almost all the solutions that we built for large organizations, they started off by building and hosting their node. Then they went to the next guy and said, we want you to participate in our platform. Is it okay if you host a node? And that's usually where it stops, right? Because the other party has an IT department, they have to have a budget, they want to use it, you want them to use a solution, but now they have to host your infrastructure. That sounds like something that makes sense for architects, but it doesn't really make sense commercially. And we found it was a huge pain point for most of these solutions to get rolled out. Now, some organizations went the other way around, right? They started a consortium. So they said, in our industry, let's get together and create a network, and then we'll come up with solutions. Now, some of those did start that way, but the problem there is finding the business case. So you tend to have these two different approaches, and both of them kind of really struggle for these reasons. The other thing is, in this private environment, because it's private, you don't really have composability. You can't really do payments because you don't really have a common payment token. And they're not really suited for assets and provenance, which you need in supply chain tracking and in asset issuance. Because the way the privacy is designed, I put some data in, I only share it with the party I want to share it with. then they send it, they do something and they only show it with another party. There's no way for somebody to see all that history, or it's very, very difficult. And so it's very difficult to validate the history of transaction. So again, that good stuff that you think you're getting with a blockchain gets diluted or kind of disappears. And many companies that we work with as well, where they're stuck is they've kind of got this enterprise private blockchain, which they've built, where they've built a solution. Now they want other people to use it, but they're really hosting the nodes themselves, or there's one party hosting the nodes. And that's not a good place to be, because an application costs 1x to host. If you're hosting 10 nodes, you're paying 10x hosting cost on that application. So £100,000 a year turns into £1 million a year for no reason, because you're not actually adding any security because you're hosting all the nodes yourself. So companies kind of got themselves into a twist with these things and into quite a challenging situation. The solution that we've put together and we think solves all of this is what we call a silent data roll-up solution. Now, the way this works, the private blockchains, you can see them on the top left here, they give you data privacy. The public blockchains on the right, like Ethereum, give you decentralization and security. And they also give you what you can see on the bottom, which is access to public chain liquidity, being able to compose and integrate with other applications. Now, with silent data, we can join those three things together, right? What we do is we maintain data integrity of a public ledger, because we use what's called a roll-up. So the enterprise hosts a blockchain. That blockchain is private. It has hardware privacy protection. Other companies can use it because this company can't see their data because of the hardware privacy protection. So if I'm company A and I'm doing some transactions, company B comes along, if A is hosting it, they can't see B's data, even though they're hosting the solution. Right? There's hardware protected data privacy. So we can have a single instance that's running an industry application on behalf of a number of companies. They don't need to each host a node because their data is already protected through a hardware protected data privacy solution. And what we do is we create the transactions and we do what's called a roll-up to the public network. That means that we create some cryptographic output which proves the integrity of the transactions in this private environment. And that gets posted and validated on a public network like Ethereum. And that means that anyone can go to Ethereum and check that the transactions in that network were valid without actually seeing the transactions. Right? We have proof, verifiable proof that the transactions are valid, but we don't share the data. So we get the best of both worlds. And the data privacy is configurable. So we could say, here's a piece of metal in the supply chain. And we want to see, as a consumer that's buying something that's got that metal in it, I want to see the entire journey. And I want to see that it's produced in the right way, that it has the correct attributes and carbon attributes and so on attached to it. So there's a level of transparency that I want to see. But there's also some things that we want to hide. Maybe the companies don't want to see each other's names in there because it's a supply chain and I want to build a product and I don't want everybody to see who my suppliers are, right? But I just want them to see they're doing things correctly. So with selective privacy, I can do that. Maybe I don't want people to see how much I'm paying my suppliers, for example. Right? That's a very sensitive information. But I want those transactions to be on a blockchain because they can be transacted more efficiently. So through selective privacy, we can do that. So that's a silent data roll-up. We think it solves all of this. And if you have any questions afterwards, please come and talk to us. The second solution we have is what's called a silent data oracle. And this is a way for Web3 applications, so applications on a blockchain, using smart contracts, which deal with tokenized assets, to be able to use data outside the blockchain. So that's data that's normally in what we call Web2 APIs. Now, the normal solution for that is a data oracle. Standard data oracles have two problems. One is that the data isn't private, because the nodes that host the oracles see the data in order to witness it and then drive the activity on the blockchain. The second is that they're very hard to decentralize, because those oracle nodes, again, they have to have access to APIs and accounts and so on. And it's another layer of decentralization that needs to take care of and is expensive. So through the Silent Data Oracle, we use the same technology that we use in the rollup, right, which is a hardware secure enclave. In that environment, we can keep the data private, and we can have a single instance that processes it. So I'll give you an example that we implemented, and we took it through the FCA sandbox in the UK. We integrated with personal and business bank accounts. So we proved properties of people's bank accounts without having access to their data. Okay? The solution integrated with Open Banking API from a secure hardware. The data from the bank account goes into the hardware, and nobody sees it. The processing happens, there's some proof, cryptographic proof gets created. This person has no debt, or this person gets a regular income above €1,000 a month. That proof doesn't reveal the data that was used to create it. That proof can go on the blockchain, and we can have a loan issued to them, or some other credit, or something happen. And so through the Silent Data Oracle, we can create privacy-preserving proofs about data that resides outside the blockchain, and nobody has access to that data. Not the host of this solution, not anybody in the middle, and certainly not on the blockchain. Okay? So this is how we think we add privacy to enterprises and to businesses looking to use blockchain technology in a way that they can actually use it, and they can tap into the goodness of the public blockchain without compromising on any of their technical requirements, privacy requirements, and so on. We did this work, the technology that we use underneath is from Intel. It's called SGX, and we have some material that we produced together with Intel. There's papers and podcasts and so on, talking about how silent data works. We've received awards from the Bank of International Settlements. We took this through the digital sandbox in the FCA, and so on. So the technology has been tested and witnessed and so on. Happy to speak to any of you later about this. We have a stand just behind here. My name's Adi, and the team is over there if you want to talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adi. That was very interesting.